Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. Today's article has to do with a Russian official, very important official, I must say. It's making some statements that are very interesting, concerning, and they need to be discussed. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So this article comes from the Voice of Ukraine from June 16th, 2022. This is the title. Russian official claims Moscow is looking to end the war. All right. Russia is looking to reach a political and diplomatic agreement to end fighting as soon as possible. And I was quoting Patrushev. However, I'm quoting, Ukraine has put a hold on further talks with Russia, end quote. He claimed that negotiations were pushed on instructions from the United States and the UK. They were put on hold, they were paused. So he claimed that negotiations were paused on instructions from the United States and the UK. Well, that's not news to me because we already spoke about this many times before. So regarding that, I give this guy credibility because it seems like after if you remember that meeting between the Russians and Ukrainians in Turkey, the Ukrainians came with some proposals. The Russians said, "Yeah, that's good. We agree with that, and we can work on that." And then the Ukrainian delegation went back to Kiev, and the next day they changed the tune 180 degrees. And the Russians said, "What happened?" And then they said, "Oh, the Brits said, forget about it. Are you crazy?" So then even Lavrov yesterday stated that they were okay with those negotiations in Turkey that time, but unfortunately their bosses disagreed with those things. Well, this is the important thing here, that this guy claims that negotiations were paused on instruction from the United States and the UK. And you can also see this with the visit that just took place yesterday in Kiev. And we had President of France, Macron, German Chancellor Scholz, and Prime Minister of Italy, Draghi. They visited Ukraine, spoke with Zelensky privately. I'm not going to consider the Romanian president as being something, but whatever. He was over there too, as I always say, carrying the luggage. That's what he did. And my interpretation of those three leaders coming with not much leverage, actually, even though they are the heart and soul of the European Union, not Great Britain, right, or United States. But since they don't have, European Union doesn't have a sovereign foreign policy, then it's all dictated by Washington. Then that's why these guys have no really power. But just going the three of them on Thursday, I'm not considering the Romanian. So the three of them on Thursday to discuss face to face with Zelensky, I'm taking that as a rupture between two groups. Is that group, and then the other group is Great Britain, United States. Why? Because the next day, today, Friday, unannounced, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Boris Johnson, flew to Kiev after these guys were gone to discuss with Zelensky. So he couldn't be there, all four of them or five of them. He came after, face to face. No more telephones, no more nothing like that. It seems like a sort of people who hooked on their lines, from London to Kiev or wherever. And then they had to come here. That's why the guys from Berlin, from Paris, and from Rome, they decided to go face to face with Zelensky. So that's why here is just the UK and the US. The other guys are not even, they don't even matter, because these guys already know who is in charge, and it's not those three countries, France and Italy and Germany. Those are just bottom feeders that follow orders a little bit less, what's his name, Macron, but he's looking at his opinion polls in his country because he lives in a democratic system, so he has to. Now, this is what, his second term or something, so I don't know if he can compete again for re-election, so nevertheless. All right, so Ukrainian president, not Ukrainian president, my bad. President of Ukraine, Zelensky, on June 14 said that he's ready for peace talks with the Kremlin, but only if Russia agrees to an immediate ceasefire. I don't think that would be a problem. All right, poll shows over 80% of Ukrainians are not prepared to make territorial concessions to achieve peace. And I'm quoting, "We know that what we're doing. Of that I'm certain. We're ready to talk only when the other side is ready to put an end to the war," end quote, said Zelensky. And again, I'm quoting, "It's devastating to keep losing people, but we will lose everything if we give it to Russia in this war," end quote. Well, so Zelensky on June 14, he's ready for peace talks with the Kremlin, but only if Russia agrees to an immediate ceasefire. So that was 14. Now we're 17. So in the what? In the on the 16 was the four horsemen of the apocalypse coming to Kiev, and then today on the 17 is British Prime Minister came over there. So that's something happening. I've been sensing something happened. It's happening, and I'm talking about happening. The so-called unity of the West is crumbling, and I think because of the Russians' advances in Ukraine. And I think these guys obviously know more than we what the Ukrainian capabilities are at this point. And maybe they say, okay, do it now rather than later when the things get even worse. That's my assessment, and we'll find out. But before a week ago, about Thursday last week, before that, at least the media, I was looking and I was checking articles. They were talking about everything was rosy and perfect in Ukraine and the coalition and all that. And there were no articles, being a little bit, maybe a little bit talking about, oh, maybe Ukraine should do this, should do that. Remember when Macron started saying that, oh, maybe we should not, they should not humiliate Putin. Oh my God, it was uproar over there. And then, okay, maybe Ukraine at one point needs to talk to Russia. Oh my God. Now it seems like these things are mainstream because Macron again said that in Romania when he visited 3 days ago or so. 2 days ago, 3 days ago, he was over there and he visited. He said the same thing. They had to negotiate at one point, and everything was by the authors of various articles. It was not an outrage anymore, not an outrageous statement. And again, the mass media started to write in differently a little bit. Then it was Biden that got into it with his buddy, puppet, whatever you want to call Zelensky, as Colonel McGregor calls him. Zelensky is a puppet of the West, but nevertheless, more clearly, United States and Great Britain. Biden said that he informed Zelensky about the imminent invasion of Ukraine by Putin, and allegedly, what's his name, Zelensky did not want to hear any of that. And then these guys hit back at Biden, saying, no, that's not true. We were very serious and we were prepared. So this kind of criticism was not heard before about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And if it was some criticism, the mass media was covering and attacking them, whoever had a different opinion, mildly different opinion, or an advice, mildly different advice than this is the line we're going. That's it. No angles here. All right, well, I hope they will talk to one another and we'll see what's going on. Thank you very much for being with me again today. And I think they communicate, and I think we're going to find out something. Well, if not, wait until November when it's getting colder outside and the Western Europe will start freezing and say, guys, we got to stop. And probably that's going to be the end of it. We'll see, most likely. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.